following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
All right, that's terrible. Welcome, everyone, to No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with, I get the right banner up, in association with Godzilla Media. My name is Ryan McCarthy, and to my right is, I didn't think I have anything creative to introduce Dustin, but Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right.
Here's a man who definitely did not spend $10,000 on a border collie suit just to be walked around like a dog. Dustin Henry.
It was $9,999.99. I got it at a discount.
Minus tax.
Yeah. Oh, it's duty free. No.
We got in Japan.
But I'm doing well. I managed to get a workout in. I ate some dinner, some pizza. I relaxed a little bit. Found out that Johnny Brito was starting instead of Domingo Herman. So that was a surprise. And here we are. But I'm doing all right. How are you doing this fine Monday?
I'm doing pretty good. I worked a bunch of overtime this weekend, and I just came from a local brewery where I had some adult beverages as well as a nice wood-fired pizza. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Wood-fired pizza. What kind did you get?
I got the what's called the Roni. It's just pepperoni.
Wow, pepperoni is a classic flavor. You can't go wrong with pepperoni. I will say, at like pizza parties sometimes when people are like, there's always that one or a couple person, like most people, you say you want to get cheese, you want to get pepperoni, people are like, cool. Then you're like, maybe some sausage, people are like, yeah. But then somebody comes out and they're like, well, I want like olives, peppers. It's like
you throw them out of the party right away.
Yeah, it's like a very specific flavor, and then the pizza comes and nobody eats that one. Guess what they're eating? They're eating the cheese and pepperoni all the time.
Yeah, I want the Hawaiian.
Yeah. Oh,
there's
pineapple.
The door.
Pineapple does not belong on pizza. I'll tell you
that.
No,
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
And I know there's a lot of people. To some, that's a controversial opinion, but in an old bit from Seinfeld, on this issue there can be no debate. Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
No, it does not. Well, before we get into everything, before we get into our topics tonight, just want to remind you about our social media channels, which are right down here below: Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok. It's at NoCredsREQ. Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. And if you're watching live or on replay, we just want to remind you to kindly smash that like button. Smash it responsibly, because that way we can dive into a vat of coins someday, like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, we got to watch out for the Beagle Boys, though. They'll be trying to rob us.
That's true. That's true. On the audio side, subscribe to the podcast on a myriad of podcast channels, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, wherever you podcast, and also rate and review. 5 stars is the preferred number of stars you need that we would like to have for a rating. Review the podcast on a myriad of different platforms, and if it's either very saccharine sweet or if it's just utter garbage, I might even read your review on the air. And because this is a live show, we want you to engage with us during the show. And Dustin, I know you've been waiting 7 long days to hear that beautiful, beautiful music.
I have.
Let's hear it. That's right, folks. Engage with us during the show. We've already got a couple comments from Mrs. Mosher Makes It. Hello, you've got this, which I believe is an emoji, which was it's an emoji. And I'm not sure if this is your sister or your brother-in-law. It says, I like pineapple, black olives, bacon, and hot peppers. But you'll be that person at the party who wants all those things on the pizza, but you wind up eating the basic stuff instead.
Yeah, I'm with you on the bacon and hot peppers, though. We can fire that one up.
Yeah, I mean, I love bacon on pizza. Bacon on pizza.
Me too.
Magical.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it, Dustin. Our topic tonight is our. I forgot the bumper music. I forgot the bumper.
Oh,
I forgot
here
the
we
bumper.
go.
Very important
Here we go.
for No Ticket Required, our summer movie series. We have to play the bumper before we get into the topic. And we can confirm it's your sister. She's watching. Hi, Tracy. All right, so this week we watched Chariots of Fire, the 1981 classic, which won the Academy. If memory serves me correctly, I'll make sure I do the research, real-time research on the show, ladies and gentlemen. That's how that's how our show is different from other shows. We do real-time research on this show. I believe it won the 1982 Oscar for Best Picture. But Dustin, let's get into it. What'd you think of this film? I know we had to rent it for a couple bucks, but that's okay. It was worth I think it was worth the price of admission. Let's hear it from you. What's your impressions of this movie?
All right. Well, first off, I think we should copyright the term RTR, real-time research. That could be a financial boon for us. But anyway, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you about this movie.
Okay.
I know. Okay. And maybe it's because, everybody knows the song. Everybody thinks of the song that plays in the beginning when they're running on the beach. Everybody knows that song. And it's been parodied in many a TV show, movie.
Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
Parodied Mr. Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. And, but the thing is, I think it was built up in my head into something because everybody I talked to said, "Oh, Chariots of Fire, it's so good, it's so good." So I don't know what I was expecting when I came in because candidly, I wanted to go into this movie blind. I didn't know anything of the backstory. I knew it was about running, but I had a feeling it was centered around the Olympics, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
And when it started, I just felt like, first of all, that 80s synth soundtrack, they were going in on that.
Oh, one. Yeah. It went hard with the synthesizer. All throughout the film, like the film score itself had a lot of synth.
The whole thing. But I just
and on this podcast, we are simps for the synth.
Yeah.
Give me a heads up.
Yeah, and particularly from this music nerd's perspective, shout out to John Moog or Moog, however you say it. There's a bunch of different pronunciations, but the Moog is one of my favorite synths ever. Like, it's awesome. But anyway, this movie just didn't do it for me. I don't know what I was expecting. It did have a couple of the common sports movie themes that we've trademarked here on No Ticket Required. It's got the driven. Both of the main characters in this one, I would say, are driven. One of them is driven to stand by his convictions. He did not want to run on a Sunday for various, for religious reasons. He was a very, very religious man, strong in his beliefs, stood by his faith. And then you had Abrams, who was the maniacally driven. He wanted to be the best. He wanted to beat Eric Little. He wanted to beat everybody, and he worked very hard throughout the movie to do that. My favorite, I did watch this movie again with my sister. She, it's been the last couple of weeks. She's joined me for these viewings, and I think her favorite character and my favorite character throughout this movie was the running coach, the professional running coach that he hires. We both enjoyed that guy. It's not to say that this movie's a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it was just built up so much by other people to me that when I finally saw it, I kind of was like, nothing really. Things happen, obviously, and there's things, and you have the resolution. You have Abrams he's struggling with the fact that he feels like he has to prove himself because he is a Jewish man in a time where that was something that was frowned upon for idiotic reasons. And then you had Eric Little again standing by his principles and not compromising his faith and his beliefs for running, even though he was pressured by his country on multiple instances to do so. So that I understood. But if I could direct this movie, what I would have done, because one of my problems is they didn't even on the race where you saw Abrams lose the one race, which spoiler. I won't get too much into that, but if you're tuning into this, chances are you've already seen the movie, or you just want to see Ryan and I talk about it, which there's going to be spoilers in this. We've spoiled every movie that we've done, except for Air. We were relatively delicate with Air, but we still spoiled aspects of that as well. But you see him lose the one race, and he loses to Little. Because Little is portrayed borderline superhuman in this movie. I mean, he was running past everybody. But
literally and figuratively speaking.
Yeah. But then when they're at the Olympics and it says, and he loses, you see him lose, but then particularly with Little's race, they're just like, oh, he's run 3 other races today, he's going to burn himself out. But they didn't even say what happened. I mean, I think it goes without saying that Little probably won those races, but it would have been nice to see some of the races, because one of this movie's strong points, I think, was the buildup for the 100 meters, where the trainer was so nervous he couldn't go watch the race, and he wrote the letter and he gave him his father's cross necklace, I think it was.
As a charm, I just couldn't tell what it was.
Yeah, it looked to me like a cross, but I'm not 100% sure. But that was, to me, the strong point of the movie. They did a good job of building up that scene, and I got a little bit of those sports movie butterflies. Trademark, no credentials required. I got a little bit of those sports movie butterflies. But other than this, I just thought that some of the main conflicts in the movie were kind of resolved very quickly. And maybe it's just because I have ADD now because of everything being at our fingertips, but the movie moved a little too slow for me. But what did you think? Enough of my prattling on for now.
I was really impressed with the movie. There was a reason why it won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Actually, I have a list of what the movie.
What the nominees were that year?
Yes. Well, okay. I have what they won at the Academy Awards. So they won for Best They won for Best Picture. They won for Best Screenplay, one for Best Costume Design, and Best Original Score. Now, the actor who played the running coach was one Ian Holm, or as we know him as Mr. Bilbo Baggins.
Okay, I knew that name was familiar to me. I knew, but it stuck with me. Okay, so thank you for scratching that itch. That's that real-time research, folks, that you only get on this show.
I mean, I knew beforehand, but
you did the prep. You did the prep.
I did the prep.
You did the work. I'm just running my mouth over here.
But yeah, I mean, it was actually also in two of the three Hobbit movies that Peter Jackson directed as well. Actually, the Battle of the Five Armies was his last role, his last acting role before sadly he passed away in 2020. He died in 2020 at age 88.
Yeah.
So, good for him. Great long life. But Sam Musabini was the coach's name. He was what's interesting, the parallel between Abrams and Musabini was that they are not native English. They were not native Englishmen.
Yes.
Yes. Abrams, I guess his dad immigrated from Lithuania, and Musabini was born to his dad was Syrian.
Yeah, I was going to say
Italian.
Yeah, I knew he had Italian, and then they obviously. I mean, I'm glad that you said Syrian and not what they said in the movie, because they're like, oh, that's even worse. Those two stuffed shirts from Princeton there, or
Cambridge.
Cambridge. Sorry, yeah. I don't know why Princeton came to my mind, but yeah, from Cambridge.
Well, I mean, same blue bloods.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I think they deserve to win for best costume design, because these costumes took you back to the time, and it really emphasized just how. I mean, I have in my notes here how stuffy everything was,
Yeah,
and
also it's post World War One.
Yes,
England, because you could tell at the beginning the two men who were helping with the baggage. You could tell they had suffered injuries during
World
War, the First World War. One gentleman had a scar, the other one had this not only the scars but also was wearing these glasses or these devices on his face that where his eyes were. I suspect that he probably went blind due to mustard gas.
Yeah, I was going to guess that it was mustard gas, right? Because that was World War One was really the first quote unquote modern war, and it's where they really embraced chemical warfare en masse. Before that, there were forms of people would just fire infected bodies over the walls and see what happened. But mustard gas was the real deal there.
Yeah,
but
which is very sad for sure.
Yeah, it really is. World War One. It's a topic I find endlessly interesting. You should. For any of you out there that are into this type of thing, you should check out the podcast Hardcore History by his name is escaping me. First name is Dan. Why is his last name escaping me? But Hardcore.
I know you're talking about.
But
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to real-time research that, because that's gonna bother me. But you should check out the podcast. He does a whole series on World War One, and he dives deep into it. And I learned a lot of things about World War One I did not know. Dan Carlin.
Dan Carlin. History. Yeah, I was doing the research.
Yep.
Real-time research.
But so they did a great job with the outfits, to be sure, and kind of, I think, staying somewhat true to the time period with the set design and things of that nature. But man, these faces that these guys were making when they were running, some of the slow motion cuts, they were something to behold. And I do have to cite my notes here for one thing. This is maybe where my mind was during the movie, but when where they're singing the "He's an Englishman" song, without question.
The HMS Pinafore.
Yes. Do you know what that reminds
Sideshow
me
Bob.
of?
Sideshow
Bob. Correct. That is correct.
The episode of The Simpsons where Bart had Sideshow Bob sing the entire HMS Pinafore until the cops came.
Yep. I couldn't help but think of that when they were singing it, and I knew you would get the reference. I knew that I wouldn't have to pull it out yet.
I was trying to find out the actor who played Abrams, Ben Cross. I was trying to figure out where he was what he was also in that I looked up in the notes. He was Sarek in Star Trek. It was Spock's dad in the 2009 movie Star Trek.
because he did look familiar to me. He did look familiar, and he was the other one where I was like, oh, I think I know that guy from somewhere, but I couldn't place him. But yeah, I mean, he looked. It was funny because at the one point he's getting the massage and he says, I'm 24 and I've never experienced contentment, and I'm like, you're supposed to be 24. You look like
he was yeah. Ben Cross was in his 30s when they made this film.
Yeah, yeah, not quite bad, not quite as bad as Judge Reinhold in what's that high school movie? Why is the movie?
Fast Times at Ridgemont
Fast
High.
Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah, Judge Reinhold. He's supposed to be like 18, and he looks like 35.
It's like everyone in Beverly Hills 90210 is 30 years old, and they're playing high school students.
Yeah.
Well, I'm typecast as a high schooler, dude. Come on, you can drink a beer right in front of me right now. Stop.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing some more research, because we do real-time research on this program, and I did past research. So Abrams passed away in 1978. He went on to be a journalist, a really well-renowned journalist in England. Liddell passed away in I believe it was age 40. Unfortunately, he passed away in an internment camp in China. As he was a missionary there. He went to the mission after he won his race, and Liddell passed away at age 40 in China. There's actually a statue there, a memorial built to him at the internment camp where he stayed. Here's the weird thing: Ian Charleson, who played Eric Liddell, also passed away at age 40 in 1990.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow. So this movie was kind of, because this was 81, right? So he really, man, that's
I'm sorry. He was 40. Liddell was 43 when he passed away.
Oh, okay.
It was shortly after his 43rd birthday that he passed. He passed away from a I believe it was a brain tumor while in camp. He was also suffered from malnourishment and just exhaustion.
Yeah, I mean that was something that they did mention at the end of the movie. I saw that he passed away in that camp in China. I think they said at the end of World War II or something like that.
End of World War II is right before the Chinese Civil War between was it Chiang Kai-shek and the communists, I think it was.
Oh, Mao Zedong.
Yeah, Mao Zedong.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was a little global history flashback there.
No, there are also a couple of errors in this movie.
Oh,
I don't know if you noticed. I don't know if you noticed one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you guess.
All right, then I probably didn't notice it because nothing really stuck out to me. Nothing.
Okay. So one editorial error was when Liddell went to run his race in the Olympics. Sam Braddock had a note sent to him.
Yeah.
Reading about his faith. But in the next scene where they go, he crushes the piece of paper. He goes through the line, and in the next scene, the paper's not there anymore.
Ah, okay, because it was very clearly under his hand when he crumpled it.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the story was incorrect with the love interest. So in the movie, Harold Abrams' love interest was Sybil Gordon, who went on to be a very famous singer in England with the opera, and then eventually would immigrate to Canada and was part of the Canadian broadcast system there. Sybil Gordon, who's played by Alice Krige, also known as the Borg Queen from Star Trek Next Generation, one of the Next Generation movies. I don't know if you recognize her. But Harold Abrams married a woman named Sybil Evers, not Sybil Gordon.
Oh, okay. So they got their wires crossed there a little bit.
The story wrong with that. So that was interesting. I don't know. For me, as a person of faith, I mean, you know me, I'm a person of faith, and
yeah.
I find Eric Liddell's story to be very inspirational. I guess you could say it was the first real true, athlete who let his faith convict him. He would not refuse to run on Sundays. I know Sandy Koufax, when he was a pitcher, he refused to pitch on Saturdays or any high holy holidays for any high holy Jewish holidays.
Mhm.
He refused to pitch on Saturdays because that was considered the Sabbath day in the Jewish
Mhm.
faith. So Liddell was kind of the model of the Christian athlete, the athlete who lived out his faith both the on and off the field.
Yeah.
With Abrams, yeah, I mean, he had definitely had a drive and a determination to prove his worth, not only as someone who is a part of the Jewish faith, but also just to tell people, look, I'm a man.
Yeah.
I'm a man. I'm flesh and blood, just like you. I'm also part of your society. I'm part of the English society. Where, yeah, my athletic prowess is going to help your country. It's going to help your university, because he was lauded as one of the best athletes in Cambridge history at
Mhm.
that time as a field runner. So part of the entirety of the movie was one guy trying to prove his worth and just saying, I want to be part of your society. I want to belong. While the
Yeah.
other man was struggling with, okay, I've got an internal struggle, but this is what I want to do. This is how I live out my faith, by demonstrating my athletic ability.
Yeah.
Because not only was Liddell a track star, he was also a rugby star. He was a winger. He was one of the fastest men in the rugby pitch, and did his bloody darn best for Scotland when he played rugby. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, Dustin, it started a little bit slow. I mean, it did get progress for me. It started to progress as the movie went along.
Mhm.
Although there was that scene when Sybil and Harold went on that date, and
Oh,
Sybil
yeah.
wanted her usual,
Yeah.
and it wasn't until too late, and you figured, Harold's going to get pissed when he sees what he brought her. He just laughed it off.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that I did like, and and I think, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I caught this too. There's a scene where he's talking about Abrams is talking about his little brother, and he said, "Oh, he
Oh,
was talking."
Sybil was during the date. Sybil was saying how jealous her brother was going to be, because he's absolutely
Yeah,
positively mad about sports, that she was having a date with one of the greatest athletes in England.
yeah, but I believe I'm sorry, I wasn't talking about the date scene. I was talking about, there's a small scene in there, because I wrote down in my notes that Abrams is driven to prove his worth, also because of possibly seeming less than in the eyes of his father. Because I think there's a small scene where there's a picture
Mm.
of him and his little brother, and he said he could do no wrong, and yet here I am, something like
I
that.
think it was his older brother who was a doctor,
Oh,
and he
okay.
was one of the great. It was one of the he considered one of the great specialists in all of England.
Okay. All right. So I
I think
kind
that's what
of,
you're getting to. I'll have to
yeah,
watch it again. I have a 48-hour rental, so I'm gonna have to watch it again just to double check. Because
yeah,
again, we'll make sure we got our research right. But
yeah.
all right, so let's go over our rankings, Dustin. I know we've done a bunch of movies so far. I think we're on our fifth week of movies. Where
Yeah.
does this movie rank in your rankings?
Okay, so for me, it's easier for me to go backwards because I'm able to remember, and maybe I'm backwards brain that way. I am a lefty and I skate goofy foot. What do you want? But anyway, so at number five, still is Moneyball for me. At number four, we have, this is where Chariots of Fire comes in. I'm glad that it's no longer a movie I haven't seen. I'm glad that we were able to rectify it. Um, I didn't actively dislike this movie. It just is not the classic that I think a lot of people think it is in their eyes, in my eyes. It's same thing for me with Gandhi. Everybody was talking about how great the movie Gandhi was, and I watched it with my mom at the time, and both of us were kind of like, "This is the 1979 Best Picture." We're going through. So Chariots of Fire comes in at number four for me. Number 3 is, oh man, I have to think of what. Number 3 is King Richard. Number 3 comes in there. Number 2 is Miracle for me, I think. And then number 1 is still Air. Nothing's dethroned Air for me. What about your rankings, sir?
All right. So counting down from 5, King Richard is still at the bottom for me.
It's a can of corn.
It's a can of corn. Moneyball at number 4, Chariots of Fire number 3, Miracle 2, and Air 1.
All right, so our top 2 are the same, but we got some different lists going. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
So I did some real-time research, as we do on this program. So for Best Picture in during the Academy Awards, the 1982 Academy Awards, Chariots of Fire beat out Atlantic City, which is which stars Burt Lancaster and Susan Sarandon. The summary. I'm not gonna do the summary right now.
All right.
Golden Pond.
Oh man, that's what I remember. Katharine Hepburn from, right? I think she was in that.
Yes, she won Best Actress for that movie that year. Reds with Warren Beatty, which is about looks like it's about it's something. I don't know. Never saw it, but also nominated that year, Raiders of the Lost Ark was nominated for Best Picture that year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you give it to Raiders if you were part of the Academy?
No.
Oh, all right. No. Chariots of Fire still gets it, huh?
Yeah. But what's fascinating too is that Sir John Gielgud, who was one of the stuffed shirts of Cambridge in that movie, actually won Best Supporting Actor that year for his role as Hobson in Arthur, which is a great movie. If you've never seen Arthur, great. I know it's your Aunt Barb. One of your Aunt Barb's was one of her favorite movies.
Does that movie have Dudley Moore in it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen that one, but it's been a long time. I was a Dudley Moore fan when I was a kid, so I have to fire that one up again.
Well, there's another costume idea for another Halloween. It could be Arthur.
Yeah. Or whatever. I can't quite do the laugh. I can't quite do it. But I do have to, and I'll give a shout out to her if she's still watching, still in the comments. My sister pointed out, she said, geez, look how much things have changed with running. Those guys were digging holes to put their feet in.
They had spades.
Yeah,
now
that's why they needed the cleats, because they were running in the, now you just put your foot in the blocks and you go. But but yeah, look at the evolution of sport during that time. It's crazy. And the fact that they were still that fast doing that kind of stuff. And I did laugh about the Americans were coming over, and of course the one I don't know. I liked the one guy in the hat, Schultz. I think that was Schultz, right? Wasn't it the guy in the hat, the shorter guy? He had his hat.
Braddock.
Oh, he had his hat sideways. He's warming up. The other guy with the sunglasses, I don't even know what he was doing. There was a scene where
sunglasses, and the robe, and the scarf. That was Schultz. That was Schultz.
Okay, and he's leaning over like a barrel at one point. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing in the shop? So,
all right. So that's another edition of No Ticket Required. All right, before we go to our next segment, we just want to do a quick commercial break from our friends at Mahler Brothers Golf. Now, we all want to look good in the golf course, but it often comes at the expense of feeling good. Mahler Brothers Golf has polos that look good and feel good. With their lightweight and stretchy material that hugs your body, you will feel cool while looking just as cool. Their polos are guaranteed to make you better, but it's up to you to golf better. On a hot summer day on the golf course, there's no polo that you would rather wear than Mahler Brothers Golf Signature Polos. Mahler Brothers Golf has a large catalog of polos with designs for those who want a loud design and others for those who want a more subtle and sleek looking design. They also have fun t-shirts, hats, tumblers, and so much more to make your golfing experience better. A couple weeks ago, I modeled one of the shirts I got from Mahler Brothers Golf. It's a great shirt. I haven't worn it in the golf course yet. I plan to, but it's a great looking shirt. It's sharp, and it fits me really, really well, and I'm pleased to have it. So if you go to MahlerBrothers.com, it's MahlerBros.com. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. You get 15% off your order. So again, it's MahlerBrothers.com. It's MahlerBros.com. You promo code BELLYUP, you get 15% off your order. So Dustin, it's time for another installment of the list.
Ooh.
Where is it? There it is.
You just made the list!
Oh my gosh.
I always forget about that sound bite. Chris Jericho, he gets me every time. I love it.
I love Chris Jericho. Such a goat. So
he
this
is.
week's
He's still wrestling. He's still wrestling. What is he? 50?
He's 52.
Yeah, 52 years old. He's still wrestling, still getting it on there.
And he's still relevant. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, he has evolved his character, I think, better than most in the wrestling business.
That's true. All right, so this week's edition of the list, top 5 baseball ballpark destinations. Now, I've got my 5 in mind, but Dustin, I'm going to have you lead off. What's your first ballpark destination?
All right, my first ballpark destination, and this is mainly the first 2 on my list, are because I've never been to these parks, and I just feel like they're parks that I have to go to. Okay. Now, granted, I haven't been to many baseball stadiums. I have love for the old Yankee Stadium. I miss it. You and I have been to the new Yankee Stadium. It's a nice place to watch a game. I enjoyed watching the game with you.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't have the magic. This first stadium that I'm going to list has, I just want to check it out because I've heard it's amazing, and it's a callback to another era. It opened, I believe, in 1912, Fenway Park. I have never been to Fenway Park. I would like to go. Can't wear my Yankees gear there. That's hostile territory. But I would love to go to Fenway Park.
All right.
What is your first?
All right, so my number 1 ballpark destination is Camden Yards. I opened up. We talked about it a couple weeks ago about the oldest stadiums in Major League Baseball, and surprisingly, Camden Yards is on. I think it's one of the first 10.
I think so. It was either in the top 10 or top 12, either of which is shocking.
But it was built in it was built and opened in 1992, but it was the first of the modern ballparks that had that classic ballpark feel. And I know the Orioles have stunk over the last couple of years. This year they're in they're first place in the American League East right now. Nobody thought they would be first place in the American League East.
No.
So it's one of probably the best surprises. Our friend of the show, Eric Arditi, we had him on a couple months ago, towards the beginning of the season. He's a big Orioles fan. He's a guy who will laud the Orioles every day, every time he's on Twitter or he does his podcast, the Exit 52 Sports Podcast. But this is one of those classic ballparks that I really want to go to. I guess it just has those old school feels, you know?
Yeah. It's got that vibe to it, you know, undeniable. But, I mean, that one is going to make my list unless I miscounted, which is a high possibility. I'm not the best at math.
All right, so I'll go with my number 2. My number 2 is your number 1, Fenway Park.
Okay.
I won't go if the Yankees are playing. because
Yeah.
I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, from what I understand, most if you're a Yankee fan, you've been to Fenway Park and the Yankees have been playing. Most people are friendly towards you. They'll bust your stones, but there's other ones who are just complete jerks because they're drunk or they just want to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
But I know that the Fenway Park has the monster seating now, up in the Green Monster. I understand the side. It's one of the smaller ballparks now. I think it doesn't seat as I think. Wait, how does it seat? I think it seats probably a little bit less than 40,000.
Yeah, I think it is one of the smaller parks, and I think they have some of that obstructed view seating, if I remember correctly. But I just respect them for keeping it going, and just trying to adapt with the times the best they can. But there's just
37,755.
Yep,
I was right.
doing that. I was doing that real time research. I was trying to stretch. But you got there. You got there. Oh man, good place to watch a game, though.
Oh yeah, it looks like a great place to watch a game. What's your number 2?
My number 2. We're going with the similar vibes here, and I guess I should say these aren't really in any particular order, but I'm trying to rank them in my head. But number 2 for me, it's another atmosphere spot, and particularly I want to go there in either early summer or late or early fall, late in the season. I got to get to Wrigley Field. I got to be there with the ivy. I got to have one of the old styles, their old style beer that's I believe it's exclusive to Wrigley, if not the Chicago area, the Chicagoland area. I'm not sure, but Wrigley Field is on that list. It just seems like a great place to play, and it's another one of those. It's a callback to a bygone era, because a lot of it, like we've said, the old Yankee Stadium is gone. Tiger Stadium is gone. Tiger Stadium will make an appearance the old Tiger Stadium will make an appearance during No Ticket Required in a future show. Little glimpse, but a lot of these older parks are gone now, and I want to check out something from a bygone era, something that has a little bit of that mysticism and that magic, and I got to see the Ivy up close. And it just looks like a great place.
So, funny story about Wrigley. So, I think I've probably told this story before on No Credentials Required, but when I was a chaplain for the River Rats back in the day and the Albany Devils, we did a chaplains conference in Chicago one year, and I stayed overnight. I stayed an extra night because I checked out a Chicago Blackhawks game at United Center. I had some time to kill before my flight, so I went down to Wrigleyville. Went to the old Goose Island pub there before Anheuser-Busch bought it when they were still an independent brewery, and I got a chance to walk around Wrigley Field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice.
That night they were doing a 25th anniversary showing of Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Wrigley Field.
Oh man.
And one of the few regrets of my life was not staying there because my flight was delayed by like 3 hours.
Oh, so you had,
I could have gone to Wrigley, taking the train to Addison. I could have got myself a ticket, went in, watched the movie, and gone back to O'Hare, and I still would have made my flight.
Oh man, that's. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe it just means a Wrigley trip has to happen,
That's true. It could happen.
Maybe.
Or as Snowman calls it, Raggedy Field. He hates the Cubs.
Well, he's a White Sox fan, isn't he?
He is a White Sox
fan. Yeah. But that's the thing. Comiskey Park, another one, gone. That's why.
But you can play those ballparks in MLB 23 the show.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yep.
they had the classic ballpark mode there.
Well, I watch a YouTube channel called the Fin FTW for the win, and this creator makes AI presidential voices like President Obama, President Trump,
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah,
Joe Biden, Ben Shapiro, not president but still funny, and he has them play MLB The Show, and it's all their AI generated voices and scripts. It's a funny program.
Well, yeah. I think I've heard of that. I should check some of that out.
Yeah, and Donald Trump goes bananas because the ballpark. He says the ballpark sucks, and I can't hit dingers at the ballpark at these crappy stadiums. All right,
Oh
so
man.
what's your number? You said Wrigley for your number 2. What's number
Yeah.
3?
Okay, number 3 for me. This one is just basically I've heard it's wonderful. I've heard that it's beautiful. Number 3 for me is PNC Park out
Oh,
in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
You're gonna go check a Pirates game out there, but I've heard phenomenal things about this park, that it's just a really great place to watch a game. And every time I see it on TV, which is rare, but I'm talking, sometimes I see the highlights, I see MLB Network, but it just looks like a nice place to play the game and to watch a game. And I really, the city of Pittsburgh is a place I'd like to check out someday. So
I have had the pleasure of having a Permanente Brothers sandwich and an Iron City Light.
Ooh.
Now, if you don't know what Permanente Brothers sandwiches are, it's basically pastrami, cheese, French fries, and coleslaw between two pieces of white bread.
Oh, nice.
And I always hold the cheese because I'm just that kind of a guy.
Yeah.
But it's a Pennsylvania staple, primarily in Pittsburgh, and it's a light.
Now, is the cheese melted, or is it? This is not a hot sandwich or a toasted sandwich, or is it?
This is not a toasted sandwich.
Okay. Okay.
But let me just see. We're doing the research again.
Yeah, real-time research,
folks.
I might have to get one of those. Yin's talked about the Permanente Brothers sandwich now. See, I slipped in a little Pittsburghese there. Yeah. But yeah, PNC Park, that's been on my list for a little while.
Yep. Yeah. My number 3 is Coors Field.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Tapping the Rockies out there.
Coors Field is actually the 12th oldest ballpark in Major League Baseball.
That's mind-boggling, because they were like, what, 96? 96?
Their first year was 93, I believe.
Oh,
they played
okay.
Their first 2 seasons at Mile High Stadium.
Oh, that's why I was thinking, okay. I got like the field opening kind of confused.
Yeah, and then Coors Field opened in 1995. And again, it's another one of those retro classic stadiums like Oriole Park at Camden Yards. That's just it just looks like a beautiful place to play, and plus you're guaranteed to have at least one home run hit in that stadium.
Oh, for sure. The humidor be darned, the balls are still going out of there.
Absolutely. All right, my number 4 is a West Coast location.
Ooh.
But it's an old school West Coast location, and I said Dodger Stadium.
Oh, okay. You're going to get yourself a Dodger dog. Huh?
Yeah, but a little bit of history about the Dodgers. So my Grandpa McCarthy, God rest his soul, growing up was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan.
Okay.
And he absolutely positively hated the Yankees. But when the Brooklyn Dodgers moved, he didn't have a team, so he adopted the Mets when the Mets were established. But the Dodgers name and the Dodgers team has so much history around it. I mean, look at the names that have passed through as Brooklyn Dodgers: Don Drysdale, Jackie Robinson, Sandy Koufax. They have a long list of names between their Brooklyn location, between their time in Brooklyn and the time in Los Angeles, that there's a lot of history behind it. And Dodger Stadium is one of those ballparks. It's for me, it's a must see. It's actually the third oldest stadium in the major leagues. Opened in 1962.
Okay.
But it's just one of those iconic stadiums that you have to go see before eventually the city of Los Angeles will probably find a way to get them a new stadium. I mean, look, they have what, SoFi Field in Inglewood, the Staples Center opened, the Clippers are getting their new arena built. They should be done by the time next year comes around. So before Los Angeles tries to find a replacement stadium for Dodger Stadium, I have to go visit it. I have no choice. I have a choice, but I would love to go visit Dodger Stadium, get a Dodger dog, sit amongst the working class fans who still go to that stadium and cheer for their Dodgers. And part of it is just also a tribute to my grandpa, because he was a Dodgers fan for so long before they moved to Los Angeles. So that's number 4 for me. What's number 4 for you, Dustin?
Number 4 for me, and we're going on the West Coast. When you said, "Oh, the West Coast location," I said, "I wonder if we're going to have the same one." I have long thought that it looked amazing on TV, and I know a lot of things look amazing on TV, but I've just heard another stadium, much like PNC. I've heard great things about it, and it's Petco Park in San Diego. I'd love to go to Petco Park. It just has, I like the look of that stadium. Also, San Diego, weather's supposed to be perfect there, so it's going to be good weather for baseball. I'd love to go there and check that stadium out. And I've always had a little bit, maybe because Tony Gwynn was on the team, but I always kind of rooted for the Padres a little bit because they had a lot of rough years too. They weren't too good. And this is going all the way back. Well, I say all the way like it was years ago, but this is going all the way back to Qualcomm Stadium when Trevor Hoffman was closing games to hell's bells there. But Petco is on my list. I just really think it looks like a beautiful ballpark and a place I'd love to see.
So I did some research. Again, real-time research. There's our episode name right there. Real-time research.
Copyright, no credentials required.
Copyright, no credentials required. So the Padres average around one rain. This is how perfect the weather is in San Diego. They average one rain out every 6 to 8 years.
Oh my God.
And the last San Diego Padres rain out at Petco Park was on May 7th, 2017. So they're due either this year or the next 2 seasons. They're due for a rain out, but they average at Petco Park. They've averaged one rain out every 6 to 8 years.
Oh man!
Before May 7th, 2017, the rain out before that was July 19th, 2015. Before that was April 4th, 2006.
Oh, geez, Jake Peavy was still pitching for him back then.
Yeah, right.
You know? Oh, man. Do you want it? Okay, we're going to do a little improv here on No Credentials Required. Rystradamus, would you like to predict when the next San Diego Padres rainout occurs?
Let's see. I'm going to say it's going to be June of next year.
All right. That happens. And we'll give you a pretty wide berth. You know, you don't have to go down to the day. You don't have to, because, I threw that one at you. You didn't have time to harness your powers, so we'll give you that wide berth. And I will get.
I'll say between June 1st and June 30th, 2024.
All right. I will get you. We'll have to make record of this. If this happens, I will get you a 6-pack of beer of your choice, within reason, of course. You're not going to send me up to the Dogfish Head Brewery to go get it.
What? You don't want to go to Delaware to get yourself a healthy 24-pack of Dogfish Head Brewing?
Not unless I'm going out there on a trip.
Look, I will say this: the cases of beer you get there are at a pretty good discount if you get it at the brewery. So I will say that.
Okay.
All right, one last ballpark destination before we go to our next commercial break. Dustin, what's the fifth destination for you?
I did my math right. My fifth destination was your number one. I also have to see Camden Yards. I just watching. I've seen a fair bit of Orioles games over the years because I'm a Yankee fan and they're in the division, so we see a good bit of Orioles games. And just watching game, even on TV, you can get the vibe of that ballpark. It's just a place that you want to be, at least to me. I mean, and like you said, it's got that classic vibe. And the fact that it's one of the older ballparks in the MLB right now is tripping me out because I remember when that was new, you know.
Yeah.
I was a young whippersnapper. I believe I was in second grade, but I still remember, much like Pepperidge Farm. I remember too when Camden Yards was new.
Remembers.
But that's my number one. What is your number one ballpark?
Well, I mean, the last ballpark I would like to see as one of my destinations for ballparks is Busch Stadium in St. Louis.
Oh, good pick.
I dig the Midwest. I've been to Chicago and to Iowa a few years ago. I've always wanted to see a game in St. Louis at Busch Stadium, at the new Busch Stadium, because whenever I watch the Cardinals on TV, they have those cream color uniforms.
Yeah.
The old school Cardinals logo is just aesthetically, it's just so pleasing to me.
Yeah.
See the deep green grass field and the dirt, and it's awesome. It's awesome. And the modern Busch Stadium, it's been open since 2006, which is when they won the World Series that year, which is interestingly enough. And Albert Pujols is one of my favorite sluggers of the modern era, and I would love to go to Busch Stadium, get myself an Albert Pujols jersey or T-shirt, sit amongst the fans, have myself I won't have a bud. I have something other than a bud. Busch
It does. It really does. It really does. But I kind of, the thing, I've seen this, and maybe you've seen it. It's one of these like TikTok, or I'm an old man, so I'm on Instagram and I see it. And these people are like, oh, if you take Busch Light and you pair it with Captain Morgan, it tastes like Dr. Pepper. And I'm almost tempted enough to try it. And I say almost because I am not going to waste money on Busch Light to try this thing out.
We might have to do a no bartender required.
Yeah, we might have to do. And there's definitely no bartender required for that.
Absolutely not. Well, before we go to our next commercial break, we want to acknowledge people in the comments section. Dustin's sister Tracy says when she was confirming something of yours, something you were saying earlier about our Chariots of Fire review.
Oh yes, about how much times have changed running wise, where these guys were digging holes to set their feet.
Yeah. Latina and Callie says yo and thumbs up.
Yo, what's up?
Chris Dietz, he says Wrigley for the Ivy, Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City for the waterfall.
Oh yeah, that was going to be an honorable mention for me for the waterfall. So
my honorable mention would be Citizens Bank Park, because all the stadiums in Philadelphia are on one block, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is a cool thing they did there.
So it says Wrigley for the Ivy, Kauffman for the waterfall, St. Louis just because I respect Cardinals tradition, Chase Field in the pool, Chavez Ravine is nostalgic. If I understand, the Trop has a Ray tank.
Yeah, but I don't want to go to the Trop, and I'm sorry here.
Yeah, I think the place looks like a dump.
I know, and I'll never forget. I can't remember if it was an outfielder that played for them or if it was an outfielder of an opposing team. But he said that was his most hated stadium to play in because the baseball blends in with the roof. So
Yeah.
when it's hit, you can't see where it's going.
I think it had a poll between all the Major League Baseball players, and they universally said that the Trop is their least favorite place to play. Not particularly for that reason, just because it's just a dump.
Yeah.
If I understand, the Marlins Field or Marlins Park or whatever it's called,
Well,
I wouldn't say it was a monstrosity. It was supposed to have an aquarium behind the backstop and the backstop.
Mm-hmm.
So it was supposed to have it, but unfortunately didn't have it.
So they substituted it with that wheel that comes up whenever they get home runs. That thing's terrible.
From the I think it's called the Mukasuki Indian tribe, the casino that owns the tribe. I don't know. Latina and Callie says the best pizza would probably be homemade. Absolutely correct.
It's true. You can put whatever you want on it. That's
true. She also says I make mine once a month from scratch. Even the sauce is from fresh tomatoes. It's a Bobby Flay recipe. I will say this about Bobby Flay. He definitely has the most punchable face I've ever seen.
I agree with you, sir.
Thank you. Schmidt Happens checking in saying,
"Hey,
sup, fella?
What's up, Schmitty? Feel like I've known you all my life."
And your sister says, "Can you guys review Seabiscuit or A League of Their Own?" We're pretty flexible about our movies.
Yeah, flexible schedule.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen A League of Their Own, Ryan? You ever seen that?
Bits and pieces, but I haven't seen the entire thing.
Well, then it's eligible. It's eligible for the review. Whereas for me, I could review that movie without watching it, but I'll watch it again.
All right, we're going to take one more quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll do more Questions for Humans Guys Night edition. Stay tuned. And I'm sorry, to close it out. This has been another installment of The List.
You just made the list! Oh my gosh.
That's not going to get old to me. Much like the PSA announcement by our good friend Wise Lefe.
Oh, we got to play it before the next commercial break.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Your sister is also in shock that I haven't fully seen
I know.
Their Own. What? OMG. All right. We got to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll do some Questions for Humans Guys Night edition. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. That's right, folks. Football season's on its way. Baseball season full swing. No pun intended. Hockey season's coming soon. Basketball season's coming soon. Concerts never go out of style. Neither do comedy shows. What better way to get your ticket by using SeatGeek and using promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you get $20 off your order of $50 or more. As I mentioned in this program, I'm going to get to the Rock, the Prudential Center in January. Going to watch myself some New Jersey Devils hockey when they play. Hopefully, Connor Bedard, the number one overall pick in this year's NHL draft, will be there, and I'll be able to watch him live. Dustin, I'm pretty sure you want to get yourself to a Yankees game, or maybe maybe you can come with me for this Devils adventure too.
Yeah, I was there last year to see one of the craziest games between my Edmonton Oilers and your New Jersey Devils that we've ever seen. That was wild.
That's right. We both can safely say that we both got to see Connor McDavid play a live game.
Yes,
generational
that's right.
Talent.
The best Connor in the NHL. I don't care what Bedard does next year.
That's right. I don't care if he scores 10 points or he scores 100. Yeah. I want to see him live. And I'm going to use promo code BellyUpSports at checkout to get $20 off my order of $50 or more.
It was one of my favorite parts of the show when Ryan cuts to Ryan. I love it.
And by the way, SeatGeek gets the no credentials required seal of approval.
The yawn makes it. The yawn.
It does. It does. Mahler Brothers also gets the seal of approval as well.
Yes, of course. I gotta get some new threads, so I'll probably be hitting that up soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. It's time for another installment of Questions for Podcasters. Again, this is from the Questions for Humans Guys Night Edition card pack. Again, you can get, it doesn't have to be just Guys Night. You can get it for friends. You can get it for, well, there's the first and second edition of the Friends pack. You can also get it for a date night. So,
Ooh.
Hey, if you're looking to build your relationship and get questions answered, get yourself Questions for Humans date night cards. You can also get them for workplace. I haven't opened these yet because I don't work in a workplace. I work from home.
You're in your workplace, homie.
I'm in my workplace right now. Actually, I work from this desk. So we've been playing Questions for Podcasters over the last couple of weeks, and it's been pretty fun doing so. Got some pretty revelatory answers from these card packs, and as usual, I'm going to start out by asking Dustin a question. And this question is, what are the funniest movies of all time?
Oh man, this one's getting me. You know what? Funniest movies, it says plural. All right.
Plural. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do two. And these are just off the cuff. You know, people are probably going to come at me and say, there's a lot of movies that are funnier than that. But I don't care. This is what first came out of my mouth. So number one for me, number two, I'll go number two for me is Uncle Buck. I love Uncle Buck with John Candy. It's got a lot of laugh out loud moments. I'm even thinking of some of the moments and I'm laughing. John Candy, I've been thinking about him a lot lately. I saw an old SCTV sketch on Instagram where he's a drummer in a band, and it just made me think this guy was a comedic genius. His timing was great. His physical comedy was great. And he was perfect as the degenerate Uncle Buck, you know, who comes up in the clutch and realizes at the end of the movie he wants to be a family man. But that movie's got a lot of great moments in it. It's got the meeting with the principal that most people will probably remember. You know, it's got the
here's a quote down the subway station of a rat and all that thing off her.
Yeah, that right there. That's the best. Then you got one of my favorite parts is, no, you ever hear of a ritual killing? He. Nod her face like that again and you'll be one. There's just a lot. That movie always, if I'm feeling sad, I can throw on Uncle Buck and it's sure to make me laugh, and it's a little nostalgic. You know, I'm at an age now where anything that tickles the nostalgia bone a little bit is gonna go far with me. So Uncle Buck is one, and then my number one movie, and I surprised myself with this answer, but this is one of those movies that every time it's on TV, no matter where it is, I'll watch it, and it just is Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
In a really, really bad mood, Dumb and Dumber will get me to laugh. You know, from Pretty Bird to they catch air in the puppy van. There's so many moments. Jim Carrey saying the old lady swindled him and he didn't even see it coming. You know, Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey, the humor is juvenile, but they are magic in that movie. And to me, that's a great one. I mean,
yeah, the Farrelly brothers, the prime Farrelly brothers, right there.
Oh yeah, and
absolutely.
I mean, honorable mention to Something About Mary, but the first two movies that came to my mind were Uncle Buck and Dumb and Dumber. But how about you, sir?
All right,
connoisseur of comedy.
All right. So the first movie that came to mind was Tommy Boy.
Oh, that's a good one.
I could quote Tommy Boy all day long. All day long. I mean, come on, brothers don't shake. Brothers
Yeah.
gotta hug.
Yeah. Fat guy in a little coat. Don't do it.
Little coat. I always do this. Like when I say my face hurts to my sister,
Yeah.
I always go. My face really hurts. Not here. Right about here. And of course, the deer scene where they run over the deer, they bring it in the car, and then a minute later it wakes up and terrorizes the entire car that Richard has. Oh.
Yeah. Yep. And then what about his sales pitch for the brake pads too? That
The first one.
Yeah.
Here comes a meat wagon.
Yeah.
God, I miss Chris Farley so much.
Oh yeah.
Man. And I guess my second one would be Billy Madison.
Oh, that's a good one.
Highly quotable movies.
Oh, for sure.
Just, oh my gosh. Peak Adam Sandler. Again, like you said, it's like Dumb and Dumber, which I saw in the movie, which I happened to see in the movie theater on New Year's Day, 1995. I happened to see it in the theater. It was right before I went. It was that afternoon. Because I remember going home and watching the Rose Bowl. I watching Penn State beat the crap out of Oregon, and they should have won the national title that year. They should have won the national title. Did it?
Well, let me ask you a question. Was Pat Summerall calling the Rose Bowl back then? I can't remember.
No, it was Keith Jackson.
Oh, Keith Jackson. Okay,
it was Keith Jackson on play-by-play and Bob Greasy as color commentator.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Bob Greasy, 1972 Dolphins. Sorry, Schmitty, if you're still in the chat. I know you're a Dolphins fan, but I can't stand those 72 Dolphins.
Every single year, they pop the champagne when the last unbeaten team goes down.
Yeah, and they're going to do it.
Champagne. Every single one of them are octogenarians now. They're still going to be doing it into their 90s, I bet.
Oh, for sure.
All right, Dustin. Lay it on me. What's your question?
All right. So my card is, what reoccurring dream do you have?
Whew, that's a good one. There's two. The first one always has to do with money.
Okay.
It's weird. Like, I mean, leading up to when I was when we were going to Outer Banks last year, I kept having these recurring dreams about not having enough money. Oh my God, I'm going to run out of money. And that was probably the most, because they say when you dream, like the thing that's most on your mind is the thing you dream about.
Yeah.
So I thought I was having reoccurring dreams like, I'm not gonna be able to go. I'm not gonna be able to go because I don't have enough money. But I actually wound up having enough money to go.
Yeah. You were there.
Yeah, I was there. I was all week. Yeah. I was there all week. And I guess the other one would be like having a significant other, like having a wife or a girlfriend. It's just, like, again, that's another thing that's, I don't say it's constantly on my mind, but I mean, as a single guy in his mid 40s, I've always, that's one of the things I haven't accomplished yet in my life is being married and having a family. And it's just, it's one of those things that's on my mind. Yeah, we're going a little bit deep here. I get it. But this is what these cards are designed to do, folks.
Yeah.
Questions for humans. They're designed to make you laugh, make you think, make you cry, make you go deep. And I'm kind of going deep here. But yeah, those are the two things I kind of really, when I have a reoccurring dream, those are the two topics on my mind: money and having a significant other, like a spouse or a girlfriend. Because again, I always wanted to be married, have a family on my own. That's one of the things in life I have not been able to accomplish yet. Someday,
you got
happens,
time.
But
you got time, man.
I got time. What about you? What's the recurring dream you have?
Well, my reoccurring dream, and I'm kind of sad. I don't have vivid dreams like I used to. I got a friend of mine, Chris. You've met him before. You actually met him Outer Banks briefly this time.
No, I didn't, because I went.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I got there and you were passed
exhausted.
Out.
Yeah,
I passed out.
Yeah. So I think you've met him at other things though. I think
may have,
possibly briefly. But he dreams. He can almost remember dreams that he has every night, and like vividly too. And he has a dream journal. He writes them down, and he writes music based off of some of his dreams. So go check out the Gherkins Band on Bandcamp and all your streaming platforms. And I am a sometime member of that band. You might hear some of my background vocals, or on one track you'll hear some of my saxophones. That's right, I was getting saxy up in here. But anyway,
saxy.
Yeah. But my reoccurring dream that I can remember, and it's kind of one that's similar to your first one. I have the dream, and I don't know what this says, and I should get like a dream dictionary or something and have it analyzed. But I have a dream that I am in college, and I either find out on the last day that I don't have enough credits to graduate, or that there's a class that I was supposed to take that I somehow either didn't go to all year, or there's a class that I like have to take the final for, but I didn't go to all year. It's all variations of that dream. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, you've been out of college for years. You graduated, but
yeah.
I don't know what that says about my brain, but that is a reoccurring dream that I have.
So
that's the one.
So I was gonna play. I should have. I'm gonna play tribute to Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, because we lost him today. But I remember one. But I remember one line from Pee Wee Herman, from Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And the waitress near the dinosaur museum park asks him, Pee Wee, what do you dream of? What do you dream about? And he says, well, sometimes I dream I'm naked in a desert with a snake in a donut. And then she asks him, no, what do you dream about? What do you dream about? And it's like, and she tells him about the dream that she wants to go to Paris and she's never going to be able to go and this and that. But like that's the first thing that when you asked about the dream, I'm like, that's one of the first things that came to mind was that line from Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Oh man, you should have said that with a straight face.
I should have said that with a straight face. But all right, before we take off, we got to do one more quick trip to the comments section. Chris Dietz from Fifth Down Sports, his first game at New Yankee Stadium for me will be on Sunday. Can't wait to check it out. I don't think you'll be disappointed, Dietz, but you never know. People have different opinions. He also says you are working off the presumption that us podcasters are humans. Many would disagree. Yeah, I would say at times, Dietz, I think you're AI. But it could be the ADHD talking. The Great Outdoors, love John Candy.
Oh, yeah, he's the man.
Your sister says, you know what tickles the nostalgia bone and is funny? A League of Their Own.
She's campaigning. She's campaigning
she's
hard.
She's campaigning really hard for A League of Their Own. Gasman, how do they know these guys must be pros? Hot take: Black Sheep is better than Tommy Boy. That is a hot take.
I do like Black Sheep. I don't know if I particularly agree, but I always love the fact that Chris Farley was a Seahawks fan in Black Sheep. I did love that. But
that's
but
right,
the reason,
because his brother runs for the governor for the governor of Washington.
Of Washington, yes. And I don't know. I could agree a little bit with the comments here because you forget that one. Why is his name? His name was just on my Gary. He played Buddy Holly in that movie, but he always comes up.
Gary Busey.
One Gary Busey is in that movie, and Gary Busey, he's a wild man. He's
and from who is the actor who plays Chris Farley's brother in Black Sheep is Tim Matheson, who's in another one of my favorite funny movies, Animal House.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh. Deets, the Rockford Peaches, a league of their own. And then the
Oh,
last
that's
comment
right.
for the night, your buddy Schmidt happens. Similar to Dustin, I have dreams that I show up one day to class for a final exam and I realize I know absolutely nothing about the subject.
Yeah, I don't know what that says about us, Schmitty, but I don't know. It's been a little bit since I've had that dream, but I was still having that dream well into my late 30s. And we'll see. I probably spoke it into existence tonight, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think one of last night's dreams I had was about the Albany Firewolves lacrosse team. I dreamt that they were in the National Lacrosse League Championship, and I was late for the game, so
Oh,
they were already up 5-2 at halftime. So
at least they were up.
Hey, maybe that's Rice Damas with another prediction.
Yeah. Oh no.
Wait for it.
That's what I was waiting. Oh man.
Goodness. All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up here for another edition of No Credentials Required. Before we do that, I just want to remind you about our social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, and the scarcely used TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/NoCredsREQ. And again, if you're watching on live or replay, hit that like button, smash that like button, and smash it responsibly. On the podcast side, subscribe to the show on a myriad of platforms and podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play. Rate and review. 5 stars is the number of stars we want to see the rating for. And the review, if it's mean or if it's awesome, we'll read it on the air. Whew, what a show. So, for Dustin Henry, my name is Ryan McCarthy. You have been listening to or watching No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. Next week, we'll be back with another installment of No Ticket Required. But in the meantime, be safe out there, and we'll talk to you next week.
Good night, everybody.